Hello there, beautiful soul. If this video found you today, then there might be a message in here for you. Before I get too carried away, I wanted to explain that the piece that I am painting, I changed the settings on my iPad to make it grayscale, and then I went to a website after it was in grayscale and picked a palette to paint with. And I waited until I was completely finished with the painting to change my iPad back to normal color to see what the palette was. At the end of the video, I will show the results, what the palette was, and then I'll show you some of the variations that I tested with gradient maps. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I appreciate you being here. Often as artists, we get so close to completing a project, but once the end is in sight, we lose all our inspiration to finish those last few touches. It can seem like the magic of the painting dies out and is replaced with the idea that we have to work to wrap things up, and it doesn't feel like the energy we want to put into the piece. Maybe it's not looking the way that we hoped it would, and we're afraid it will be a waste of energy to work on something that doesn't fit our vision. These are all valid feelings, of course. I've struggled with ADHD my entire life, and art has never been an exception to that. It should be no surprise to anybody that I'll get inspiration and start to act on it, and then end up bored or go to look up a reference for something I need and find myself distracted by something completely unrelated to art. I've accepted that this is a part of myself that will always exist, especially in a world where there are so many things strategically placed in our lives to make us chase dopamine. It does me no good to fight it, but with acceptance and awareness, I'm able to plan for it and get back into the flow after I've been taken away from the process. In any given moment, you have a choice to wait for inspiration or take action. And the truth is, you can't wait until you feel like finishing the work. And like most things that I talk about, this doesn't apply only to art. Waiting for inspiration is another way of telling yourself that you aren't inspired and you don't know when you will be, which in my experience is a vicious cycle that keeps me from creating anything. Inspiration can lead to action initially. An idea seems to be handed to you by the universe out of nowhere, and suddenly you're up to your elbows in paint and tape and you've forgotten that you needed to eat. You push through the hunger because the process of creating feels so good and the vision is so strong that you have to keep going. And then you crash. You're only human. You take a break to get yourself what you need, hopefully, and you try to come back to the canvas, but it feels like the momentum carried on down the road without you. This is only natural. If we're lucky, we finish the project before the crash, but it's highly unlikely depending on your style, the techniques you use, and how much perfectionism you pour into it. But how do we get that momentum back? How do we find the spark again? There is a way, but you probably won't like the answer. Remember how I said when you first start, inspiration leads to action? Well, the opposite is true when it comes to finishing something that you started. Action leads to inspiration. Whether you stopped because you didn't like where the process felt like it was taking you, or you ran out of steam, you have to push through and pick up the brush or the pencil. If it doesn't fit the vision that you had, you can see where you are now and use your vision as a compass to head in the right direction. You might be thinking this is counterintuitive, and I can see why you might feel that way. I feel the same. But I've done it enough times now that I know it's the only way that I can finish a creative work if I've stopped before it's done. Once you accept that it's gonna be work and take action to do the hard part, the momentum will pick itself back up. I'm currently experiencing this with a piece that you'll see in a later video, and I'm partially through the rendering stage. I know it's going to be work to decide what values to use and where to blend things and so on, but once I get started again, I trust that the inspiration will come. All it takes is a bit of surrendering yourself to the process. Surrender to the idea that once you do a little bit of the hard work, seeing that part of your art no longer as an empty space on the canvas will reignite the vision. And trust that if it doesn't, you're being led by your subconscious and by the universe to a better vision that will be much more fulfilling. You just have to push through and do the hard thing. Just try for a few minutes and see how you feel. Remember to be patient and don't be too hard on yourself if you don't feel inspired on the first attempt. You got this. I believe in you. I hope you got something helpful from this video, and if it resonated, then don't forget to like and subscribe to help my channel grow. You are loved and appreciated, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.